You know, with the relatively late popularity of Team Fortress 2 and Gmod, two games I'd never really played that much of, I can honestly admit I just have no idea what's going on with the modern Source scene. Don't even ask me to try to explain why Skibidi toilet memes have millions of views. I really just don't get it, and it makes me feel geriatric. Look, I was in high school when Half-Life 2 finally came out, and well, all those delays in a development cycle that was starting to resemble Duke Nukem Forever's at the time really did pay off in the end, because Half-Life 2 changed gaming forever. The original Half-Life 2 is what I would consider a masterpiece of gaming history. Amongst other things, it implemented a brand new engine, which would ultimately define more than a decade and a half of gaming. I mean, Apex Legends, which is still obviously really relevant to this day, is powered by the Source engine. It's just an absolutely monumental achievement. However, after all this time, my fondest memories are still found in that original campaign playing as Gordon Freeman and ultimately bringing down City 17. Enter the Half-Life mod scene. There's been some tremendous single-player content released in this space, like the awesome Entropy 02, where you turn the tables and play as a Combine soldier. Of course, Black Mesa, the remake of the original Half-Life, got its start as a mod nearly 20 years ago now. God, maybe I am geriatric. Half-Life 2 and Source in general has a very unique gameplay vibe that can only really be explained by playing it, and well, if people still want to pursue new single-player experiences in this space, I am totally here for it. Also, G-String is another excellent example of the possibilities here when you dump your passion into the Source engine. Though not a Half-Life game and a game with some flaws, it's still a love letter to this style of FPS game. If you like Source engine games, then you owe it to yourself to play G-String. I thought it was fantastic. So, Swelter. The premise of this game is that it takes place prior to Gordon arriving at City 17. However, we aren't in the same Eastern Europe ex-Soviet bloc type setting, we are much further east in the stands. There's a whole bunch of countries in this area that end in Stan, and which one it takes place in ultimately doesn't matter, I think. you get the vibe. At one point it's revealed that you are 2 hours ahead of City 17, and well, that doesn't really narrow it down, does it?
What is that?
Hey, you know, it might be like one of those fake stands you had in the newer Modern Warfare or something. You know, basically, all you need to know to set the scene is that this is the ex-Soviet bloc parts of the Eurasian steppe. It's hot and dry and tough. It's sweltering. So your big Combine-controlled city here is City 545, and the basic premise here is that the human rebellion factions are split. There are those in the city and those outside of the city in the steppe, with the ones in the city leaning more towards cooperation with the Combine and the ones out in the steppe seeking total freedom. Being from the city, you are tasked with infiltrating the ranks of the steppe rebels to try to make amends between the two factions. Your main enemy is still, of course, the Combine, you know, despite your underlying intentions here. Half-Life has always been a linear storytelling experience, and Swelter plays completely into that framework. The set pieces and combat sequences in this mod are 100% Half-Life through and through. They follow the formula to a T. You got your classic power plug puzzles, of course, but these are served with a bit of a modern twist. You've also got an abundance of mini fetch quest type puzzles where you need to locate something to help you progress. Standard Half-Life stuff. The weapon lineup here is mostly familiar, except with the addition of ADSing, which at first I wasn't too keen on it, but you know, it really quickly grew on me. Some additions to the lineup are the trusty Mosin Nagant for sniping, which was really satisfying to use. And there's also a Soviet-style grenade launcher, which was equally a ton of fun. The NPCs are all fully voiced, and you know, for this being a fan-made mod, some of it was very, very well done. I mean, there's a bunch of broken English here, which is, you know, it's totally fine considering the setting. But it also won't be winning any Oscars for the voice acting, if you know what I mean. There's some original music here, along with remixes of some old classics. The soundtrack is just dripping in that epic Middle Eastern style, not unlike something you would have heard in many other games and movies set in this type of setting. Good stuff. I finished this in basically 2 sittings, you know, properly taking in everything and enjoying the overall experience. It's probably going to be around 4 hours all said and done. Swelter is just a nice little slice of a Half-Life story. It's got cozy and familiar aesthetics and settings, while introducing its own new flavors to classic tropes. It's well polished with its solid plot and hits all those nostalgic checkboxes. The level design is solid, and the puzzles are unique and interesting. Sure, there's plenty of source engine jank here, but you know what? That was the style of the time. Overall, just an excellent single player experience that you can really tell was born of passion for expanding the Half-Life story, because, well, Valve isn't going to be doing that anytime soon. Thanks for watching.